What's up, y'all? Welcome back for another episode of Succeeding in Singleness. I am so enjoying what we have been talking about so far. And if y'all do not know about the podcast, this is a podcast where we are truly succeeding in singleness. Why? Because you have no other choice. Period. Because I'm not going to let you fail in this season. So, and how about that?
Don't let them.
No, say it.
Go for it.
My name is Janae, and as you can hear, I have some people with me. And I'm super excited to start this conversation, y'all. They were in the episode before, and so I'm super excited to have them back, and I will have them introduce themselves just like last time. You don't have to put your age in. You don't have to do it again. Just your name.
Oh. Amber, and yes, I'm still single.
I wasn't expecting that.
Right.
I thought you were going to say, hey, I'm Amber.
Hey. I'm Samantha again.
I'm L'Oreal. I'm Jasmine, still checking single on my taxes.
See. Okay, I'm Dominique.
I am tickled. But today, y'all, we are going there, and I think it's going to be a really good conversation because some of us may have a list. Some of us may think a list is, like, unnecessary and for what. But that is what we're going to talk about today. And so I want to start the conversation about, because Sam mentioned it. She was like, when was the last time you really liked somebody? I thought that was a good question. So ask yourself that. Leave it down below. When was the last time you liked somebody?
And not just your looks.
Not just the looks.
Oh, that's good, right?
Okay, who want to go? All right, so anybody, when was the last time y'all liked somebody?
An hour ago.
When I say I like people, I do. I as my homegirl Janae know, she has to bring me back to reality, because when I like somebody, I like them. And I'm working on how to tame that, because I meet somebody and I'm like, oh, he this, he that. Oh, Jesus is my husband. So, and that's a problem, okay? Because I'm still single, as you guys heard me say that already. So, I have gotten it wrong. I thought I heard Jesus. It wasn't him. So, yeah. I like all the time. So, the question is, am I liking the right person? No, I'm not. No, I'm not. No, I'm not.
It's okay.
That's
okay. You should find out before you got married.
That's real. Yes, right. Anybody else?
You should find out before you got married to the man.
Yeah.
Actually liking a personality, not just the way you look. Yeah. Your personality it's been a minute, y'all. It's been like a few years of actually liking your personality.
Phew.
I don't know if that's a problem for me. That's big problem.
Is it me, Lord?
Is it me? Am I the problem? It's really like I haven't met nobody where I'm like, oh my God, you like really cool. I haven't met that. Nope.
Now, Jasmine was singing the Jeopardy music.
I would say Carly.
I mean,
well, you got she don't count.
I would hope so.
Yeah, we might get in trouble.
I would hope so.
She might get in trouble.
Yeah,
we have a problem.
You count. You matter.
She don't count. She in a whole relationship.
She's been in a relationship for 2 years. For those of you have
relationships matter.
Relationship. So should she like him? I would say put yes in the comments below.
Jasmine, so Jasmine, is that a no? Jasmine.
What girl?
Okay, that's all she got. She said
that's all she got.
It's a question.
Have you liked somebody?
Have I liked somebody? Like actually,
the
like
last
somebody?
time you really liked somebody, I think you can answer.
Can I answer?
That you liked.
I think. Do you have an answer for me?
Oh, I just thought of college.
Yeah, college. You know, that was almost 10 years, man. We graduated in 2013.
And that's okay.
It's been a decade.
I just hear something. Maybe she's. Are you upset about that?
Like,
someone out there hasn't liked someone like that since college.
So let me tell you.
I thought you liked somebody.
No, relax.
Let me edit that part.
It's a no. Let me tell you why I'm struggling with this question though, because what it means to like someone now in this current season that I am in is so different than what it was then. Okay. So if you would have asked me even 4 years ago, did I like somebody? I probably would have said yes. But in retrospect, I'm like, no, I was entertaining somebody.
Got you.
Right? And that's not the same thing. Like, and so really having liked somebody and was willing to be in a relationship with them, no, it's been a long time. Yeah. That's why I haven't been in a relationship. But I was willing to. It was people who I thought were, and I hate to say it like this because it's not right to treat people like this, but it was people who I thought were good enough to entertain, but not good enough to really be with. So I don't think that I like them. So that's really why I'm struggling with that question.
That makes sense. That makes sense now that you've explained.
Yeah, but she still know her answer.
Yeah,
it's enough.
It's been a long
It's
time.
enough.
It's been a long time. It's been a decade. I graduated
A decade.
10 years ago.
Oh, yeah, y'all old.
You
Say
it again.
Okay, Maria.
No, I was sitting here really just trying to think about my answer. I think I did great with entertaining people. I would definitely say like, yeah, I'm kind of like them. I remember I used to say like a guy was a really great margarita date, and this was like back in college. I didn't really like him after that date. Like it was just fun, hung out. Yeah. Every 2 months I could see that person and it would be all good and I would, keep going. But that's when I was like just out having fun, like
okay, just go.
Okay, so what I'll say is I've always been really great at entertaining people. Meaning every month or two or whatever, go out for a day, just have fun. But then when it got up to the point of are we being in a relationship, my answer would always be no. So I was really wasting people's time, which is not right. And what I've learned now is just to be an effective communicator and let people go and pass that person. Let them get closer to their person they're supposed to be with and not your entertainment.
Yeah. It's good stuff.
And I thank y'all for answering that. For some, it was hard to answer.
Excuse me.
For you? Huh?
For you? Oh, wow. We're interrupting your podcast with an announcement. We want your answer.
I was going to say my answer. I just wanted to wrap y'all up.
You ain't getting none of that, baby.
No.
I'm at a point where I do like somebody, if I can be honest. But I think sometimes with liking somebody, I go through a lot of like highs and lows. And I'm like, you need to learn how to like really be stable in how you feel about somebody and being honest about how you feel about somebody. So I think I'm still learning how to like I mentioned in one of the podcasts, like tapping into my emotions, like being honest about how I really feel versus trying to like not get hurt. So then I say I don't like you for real so that I won't be hurt. So like, or if you like change your mind about me, then I'm not as invested. And so I'm learning how to balance that right now, y'all. So my answer is yes, I like somebody, but I do have a lot of those things in the back of my head. All right, so I don't know about y'all, but does anyone that's listening have a list? So that list of like maybe your do's and don'ts or like this ideal guy that you have. Let me know if you have a list. I know I had a list growing up, especially because church, they told us to make a list, just so you can, just know what you like. And I think it also helps you kind of stay on track on your values and all that type of stuff when you are meeting somebody so you can reflect back on it. But I have modified my list personally so that it's not, actually I got two different lists. So like it's more, one list is physical and then the other list is, what they can do. And then the other list is more like Bible based and like, okay, he is a servant, he does this and all that type of stuff. So does anybody have a list or are you anti-list?
I think I used to have a big list, and my list has dropped down to 3 things, really. Oh. And it's really like, you better be saved, filled with the Holy Ghost, prayer, all of that type of stuff. That's number 1. Number 2, you have to have a compassionate heart and be like, have a great personality so I can want to be around you, be fun, all that type of stuff. And then the last one is, you better be fine. Because if I got to see for the rest of my life, I need to like those 3 things. And I don't think them are unreasonable. No. Because some people be like, no, you gotta be fine. Like, that's shallow. Like, well, I gotta sleep with them.
It's not. It's realistic.
I gotta sleep with them.
Is that
Is
that too much?
No.
Because if you gotta have sex with this person for the rest of your life, I hope that you like the way they look.
I hope so.
Church people trying to tell you that's wrong. Love his heart. That ain't. We need a little more. I need a little more.
She's for church people. Go ahead.
I think growing up for sure, I definitely had a list. it was unrealistic. Like, if I'm being honest, my list was he had to be taller than 6'3". I'm 5'6", and it's like, really, I don't need nobody that's 6'3". They gotta play a certain sport, and now where I'm at, I don't necessarily have a list. Like, I have different characteristics that I like, that I would like in a person, but as far as a specific list, as far as like physical attributes, and I don't necessarily have that, but I wouldn't say I'm anti-list. I say I have some things, but it's not actually written down.
So it's all up here.
Yes, it's
you said it's in your memory bank.
It's in my mental. I got it.
Okay.
Your list shouldn't.
You said forget about writing a vision and making it plain.
It's
written up here.
I see it
It's
in
on the
my
tablet
head.
of my mind.
I see it in my head.
And there it
That's
is.
the vision.
What about you, Jasmine?
Let me tell you something. Yeah, I used to have a list. As I've gotten older, of course, it's gotten refined. But also, God just blows up any list that I create. And I recognize that I have always created a list without his input. And so then it's like, you want this. That's not even what you need. Because what you actually need is this. Yeah. And I've done it based on what I think of myself. Right, but as I've matured and developed, it's like, oh, I need this. Oh, wait a minute, I thought I wanted, but I actually need. So, you know, the list is very simple right now. Very similar to what Sam was talking about. You got to be saying, I have to be attracted to you, and you have to have a good personality. Other than that, we're gonna filter this whole experience through the Holy Spirit and go for it, because the things that I thought I needed. Were not things that actually suited or they didn't help me. They didn't serve me. Right. And so now I know who I am, and that's what's important. And God knows who I need, and so He'll fill in the rest.
Yeah, that's good for him.
Fidelity is also important. That's like, some people
absolutely.
I know it's on the list. And you always say sound mind, and that really, you got to talk about that. But that sound mind hit different for me. That is important.
Let me turn around a little bit.
So funny. I literally just thought about that. Yeah. So I work in the mental health field, and I have seen it all. And I also think with just the world that we're in right now, things are just so very different. And we have to ask the right questions when we start the intentional dating process. You have to be very serious about that. You also have to determine if there is someone who does have some mental health challenges, are you able to navigate that? Do you have that capacity? And asking the right questions of, if I don't have the capacity, am I willing to learn and be the support system that person needs? So there's a lot of things that we don't think about that should go on the list. So, and when I understand the mental health challenges come. So like I said, you just have to ask yourself, what's your capacity in that area? But a sound mind is very important to me, and that's something I have on the list. As far as a list in general, I've had a list for years, but I realized just a few months ago, I met someone, amazing person, literally checked off every single thing on my list. And I mean, like, I didn't just have 10 things on the list, right? And God did not tell me that was my husband. What it helped me realize is that good guys still exist. They are out there. And it also taught me that there are some other things apparently that I needed, because when this was presented to me, it didn't move me to think that I needed to move forward in a relationship with this person.
Yeah.
And another thing I think that we think when we meet those guys that they are a unicorn. And it's like, no, what they really are is a benchmark. And that it's so sad with the dating pool right now that when we meet somebody who's just benchmark, as in just kind, compassionate, the basics.
Yeah.
We like, yo, we need to really be with this
We
person.
need to bag them up. This is the one guy.
This is the
did a miraculous
one.
work.
This is the one, right? And like Jazz was saying, like sometimes we don't include God in that list, right? And I think that's a part of knowing yourself and understanding what your needs are. And if you have a really good circle, the reflections of them will tell you who you are. And the way that they show it for you will help you understand what your needs are from other people.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
List. Woo! I had a very intense list. But you know what? I never had physical things on my list. So that's interesting. But I always had emotional related things. Like, you know, he got to treat me this type of way. He has to interact with my family like this. He has to interact with his family like that. It was all things that, girl, bye. That's all. None of these ladies have seen my list, but if they seen it, they would probably be very concerned. Hence why I ended up in therapy. Okay.
I gotta go.
Where we going?
But it taught me clearly, like Jasmine quoted, you know, different things that I knew I had to work on within myself. So I'm having these expectations for a person, but really if I am better within myself, then I wouldn't need these attributes because I can get them from God and from within me. So I didn't need them from him. Like literally looking for somebody to be my person completely that's going to just give me all this emotional relief. That is not his job. I was going to drain him, period. Because I was looking for too much emotional accountability. Like I need you to really like, oh yeah, tell me you're beautiful in the morning. Tell me you're beautiful before breakfast. Tell me you're beautiful at lunchtime. Tell me you're beautiful at night. Like, oh, he didn't do all that. Oh, I'm good.
You wanted to be God.
And literally, like, not healthy. Not healthy at all. Yeah. So, me having a list was not healthy. So, now, when I can truly say, really learning how to love myself and really understanding my identity in Christ, it changed so much because, granted, your girl is still emotional, guys. Okay? However, understanding I don't need that from him.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, your spouse is not your savior.
Come on now. Dominique and I don't know if we've all talked about this, but that needing all of these things for your spouse and looking for your spouse to be the person who fulfills you completely. Yeah. Like how much weight that is that we put on our spouse. Like they got to be our everything. That is so crazy. Like to put that much baggage in somebody's lap. Like I need you to be my God. Like what?
And when you don't, I'm mad about it.
And I feel as if you don't love me. The only way that you can love me is if you show up for me in all of these areas. Yeah. Like that, it's unfair to them. Yeah. It's unfair to us. We miss out on other relationships that we're supposed to have because so often it's like, well, now we married, that's gonna be it. Yeah. Like no, man, God put us in. He created us to do community, right? You see in Ecclesiastes where it just talks about the three strand cord. Cannot be broken, right? So at least 3. Yeah. It can't just be you and him. And so I just that putting all of that into putting all of that onto your spouse, wanting your spouse to provide all of the things is so unrealistic. And a lot of times we even take God out of it. Now we don't need God. Now I'm going to my husband. Right now I'm expecting him to do all of the things. Exactly. And we have to be mindful of that. That is not what marriage. That's not the purpose of marriage. Is to do all of these things.
Something for that.
You got something for?
Watch when we're talking about being content. I think we talked about that on the other episode. Being content and knowing who you are before you get married. Make sure you do that because you don't want to, like how Dominique said, be a shell of yourself. Because if you don't know who you are, and if you don't know whose you are, meaning God. That means that you're willing to abandon God for that relationship. And once you abandon God for that relationship, then temptation is a lot easier for you to fall into. And you're willing to do whatever you can to make that relationship work because you've put it above God and you've made him God. And then in the end, you sit there and you be like years go by and you're like, man, how did I get here? I'm not even who I wanted to be, who I thought I was going to be, who everybody else wanted me to be. And then you think back like, I was supposed to be with God. And God is like, did you forget about me? Right. And it was like, because that happened to me.
I'm not who I was created to be.
Yeah. I've heard God say, did you forget about me? And it was just like, ooh, I did. And now I'm unhappy And I thought this was going to be perfect because I put this, I was like, a relationship is it. And then when you get it, you realize that's a human. And it's not giving you everything that God can give you and wants to give you. Now you're disappointed. And you've wasted however many years. It could be months. It could be minutes of your time. Because if you're willing to, you can mess yourself up in a few minutes. You know what I'm saying?
In a few minutes.
In a few minutes.
If you know what I'm saying.
You picking up what I'm putting down.
Yeah, you get what I'm saying.
But in what you just said reminded me. It reminded me of like the person who you want the person to be. Also, is not you. So like a lot of things where I'm like, no, why are you being like a little punk? Why are you being so sensitive? Like get yourself together. I'm like, Janae, no. They are not you. And I think that's another thing because in friendships, we're not the same. None of us are the same. We have similarities, but like we're not the same, but yet we still try to make sure we maintain our friendship. So why is it with a guy, I'm like, oh, he doesn't do that. Nah, he gotta go. Like I also have been teaching myself like, I need to learn how to balance all of that when I'm trying to talk to somebody. Like, the list looks like this, but also Janae, he may not also be just like you. And how can you navigate through that and be okay with his personality and whatnot. And also too, what I want to put down, I put down was like, does your list restrict you or paralyze you? You feel like, or maybe just honestly like your personality.
What'd you say?
Your personality.
What's wrong?
Like, do you?
I felt that too. What you're trying to
I didn't want to look at my moving like this.
She gonna turn this way. She's like, what you?
What are you trying to
Keep that in it.
No, like,
What?
like, have you found a point where I'm gonna ask both of these questions together. Okay. Have you found or had a point where, as we talked about off the podcast, but like where somebody looks really good on paper, but the personality of that person doesn't work? Or have you found that even your personality of what your list looks like, just you're like, oh, maybe that's not what I thought was gonna look like? Or
I got something.
Period.
So this guy came correct in the DMs, like the way that he was speaking, the way he talked about the Lord, all that stuff. I was like, okay. Looked at his picture. I was like, not my usual, but I mean, like, why not try? Like, it's not terrible, but like, why not try? I'm trying to be open. And on paper, saved, filled with the Holy Ghost, been to church, family of worshipers, did it all of the job, college degree. He looked right. And then when you go on a date with him, it's just like, I don't feel you, but you seem right. And so in my head, I was going back and forth. I'm like, it's got to be me, because why am I saying no to something that looks right in the Christian world? Like, he got it together. Why am I saying no? And then it was like, he might not be for you. It was like, that's somebody else, man. I'm going to make sure you get to her.
Make sure you
Let me move.
Right. You want to answer.
It ain't me. So I'm going to just slide to the left and you do what you do. But yes, I have had that experience where it seems right and you just don't feel it in your spirit like you thought you would.
Because that's a form of settling too. Typically, we view settling differently. Like, right? But it's like, no, they still can have all these things, but that is still settling if I'm saying yes to this because I will be unhappy. Right? We usually look at settling like, well, he doesn't have X, Y, and Z that's, on my list, but what does it look like? What does settling look like when he does? Right? So, yeah.
I would say, for me, it's so funny, but actually, I have an opposite experience. I know remember this guy that I met who checked all boxes that I didn't even know could check. And yeah, it was, I guess, me. He wasn't interested in. And that hurt it. But because he couldn't explain it, but he was like, it's just something that's missing. And for me to see like, oh my God, the Lord, this is it. Thank you. And for him to come to me and say, you know what? I took you out on 3 dates and it's just something not clicking. Because I'm thinking, we laughing, we he, he's smiling at me, I'm smiling at him, he's giving me compliments. we're flowing in this, and for him to, in return, say like, yeah, it was just something that was not clicking. So that was tough to hear, because you may think that, oh, I have all these things that I'm looking for in a person, but I'm coming with, because I'm 10. Yet him not receiving in the end.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. I had a guy. He's going to make a phenomenal husband for somebody. Just not me. God bless him. He was such a good guy. Yeah, like when I'm telling you, like I should have liked him, right? Like this was one of those, like I should have liked him. I should have been willing to have a future, build a future with him, and have children, and like go on trips. And I was just like, something ain't something. You know what I'm saying? Just there's not, it's not it, and he is a really good guy. Like I really want the best for him, and I want him to be happy and to have all of God's best. I just know that I'm not that. I'm not God's best for him. And it would have been selfish for me to stay with him and or lock him up. Like right now, it would have been the same thing we say men do to women, right? You know, I don't even know why you stay with her. You know that you ain't really want her to begin with, just because she was a good girl. Like I was unwilling. It would have been selfish for me to marry this man, knowing that it's you're not for me. And so, but he was, when I saved, loved God, like he was a provider. He wanted to do all of the things. He wanted to have children. He loved to travel. He had a good job. He was fiscally responsible. Like he was, he cooks and cleans. Like he knows how to fix cars. He would have been able to. Girl, I'm like,
that's a man.
This is a man. So he was all of the things that I should have liked him. This should have been the person I was spending my future with, right? But it was still like this. No, I can't do this. This is not it. He's not the one for me. And so that was the whole thing. But we made it.
That's good, because God's best is out there.
Yeah,
and we got to remember not to settle just because we think time is running out or something like that, right? And because that wasn't what God told us. That wasn't God's expectation. Time is running out, so you better hurry up. That's something we did.
Yeah.
Allow societal pressures to do that. And also, if you are a young lady out here that has heard that from a male, like, you right, but you're not right for me, please don't internalize that and make it so that you're the problem or that it's something wrong with you. Just take it as like, okay, that hurt a little bit, but I'm going to bounce back, and I'm going to know that God's best is out there, and I'm going to pray that you find whatever you're looking for. Don't take it as if like, well, I wasn't pretty enough, or my personality was just, I should have wore this. It was like, it just wasn't God. And just accept that and just know that God has better for you.
Amen.
I just never want somebody that doesn't want me. I'm not about to hang around somebody that don't want me or figuring it out. Like, you cool. I'm cool. I'm the best. I'm the best. I'm the best.
You mean? You better love me.
I'm the coldest. Like, what you mean?
I'm the coldest.
Yeah. And that's what you gotta know.
What about you, Lori?
But as far as dating in the past, I went towards the red flags. Like, you're not
That's
supposed,
real.
That's
real.
not supposed to. And I do not run towards those red flags. Don't do what I did. It'll save you a whole bunch of time. But so I don't really have that much experience as far as like what looks good on paper, but just wasn't right for me, just because of what I typically went towards. Now the person I am with currently kind of fit, like he has more green flags than red flags, but kind of the red flags is what drew me to him.
That's it.
But being with him now and seeing like all the good things that he has made a difference. So yeah.
But I think what she said is a real thing, because like I could write out a list and I've done this, right? I have that list, been had that list, but I ain't looked at that list.
I know. Come on.
I'm legally blind. I promise you.
I didn't mean that for me.
I'm Ray Charles in this thing. No. And if I can put you on blast just a little bit.
Can you?
Yeah,
Can
I'm
you
going
whisper
to.
it first?
No, because let me tell you why. Because there's this thing where we have friends, we gonna have accountability, but it's only accountability if you let them hold you accountable, right? So there was several times we talked to not just me, you be all right. Me, Janae, and Janae's friends Janae, and she yeah, I'm gonna do what I want to do. I'm gonna see for myself. You know what I'm saying?
And that's
so
honest.
So even with sharing your list with other people and having accountability and hey y'all, hold me accountable for this, or I need y'all to make sure that this is, I want you to make sure that I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. If you don't really submit to that, it's a waste of time. Yeah. And so your friends can see red flags that you don't see, and you just gonna keep running towards them. Sometimes that's what you want to do.
You did it on purpose. Some people do it on purpose. They're I ain't saying nothing because I don't even want y'all to know that it's a flag.
And that's when it is. That's when it gets tricky.
Be quiet.
But that's dangerous.
Because I don't need y'all to know.
No, seriously.
Right, because once you know, you gotta hold me accountable.
Exactly. But I think that's a part of
right. How dare you be a good friend?
Right. How dare you? No, how dare you do what I asked you to do?
Yes.
Okay.
Be janky like everybody else.
Right. Exactly. Be janky.
Be the reason I don't want friends anyway.
For real. It really be like that. And it's that's a part of committing to the journey to get to God's best though. The biggest thing I could say to all of this is you gotta be committed to doing the work. The work is ugly. The work is not fun. You got to continue to show up day in and day out and work on it's 0 out of 10.
0 out of 10.
But yeah, and that's what it looks like therapy. It looks like community. It looks like having your accountability partner. Mm-hmm. It looks like getting up and go to the gym when you don't want to just because it helps you. It makes you feel good. And just being committed and disciplined to get you there.
I'm glad you said that because that's exactly how I want to end it. I wrote down you want to do it differently this time. And so if you have friends, if you have people that you can rely on or talk to, be open and honest about where you are. As Jasmine said, you may have to go ahead and share your list or really share your heart and where you are with dating, because if your friends don't even know that you're dating and that you're doing this type of stuff behind their backs and whatnot, we already know you're doing something you don't need to be doing if you're lying, if you're not sharing the full story. Yeah. Of course, you want to have boundaries about certain things that maybe about a person that is too personal if you feel like it is. But I mean, when it comes to you and your safety and your heart, especially your heart, you gotta share that and be open and honest about that. If you want to do things differently, you gotta, approach it.
You're thinking about insanity.
Yeah,
is doing the same thing, the same thing repeatedly, expecting a different outcome.
Yep. And so that's what I want to end it with y'all. So really making sure y'all do it differently this time. Is there anything I want to leave with people that's listening that maybe have a list that holding this list tight and they just this what he has to look like? Is there a release they need to have, or a person that is emotionally drained about finding the right person and this list is supposed to be blah blah? What do y'all want to say to somebody that's listening, Amber?
I would say, like Janae already stated, your sharing that list is very key. Also, just being honest, because I know me and Janae recently have had some tough conversations for myself in regards to me, and she got me together. But, because you may not see things, and Janae asked me a very good question. She said, because I want her to meet a gentleman. So she asked me, if I tell you certain things, will you listen? Mm-hmm. And that's the thing about what's the purpose of having an accountability partner if you're not going to listen?
Yeah.
Because clearly she got something that she can see, because I have trusted this responsibility of her being an accountability partner for me. So trusting, because if you're not going to just let anybody into what you got going on emotionally. So if you trust them enough to let them in, really let them in. It's no point of me letting you in and I'm giving you 10%, but I really should have gave you 100.
Yeah.
So letting them all the way in is very, very key.
Don't be embarrassed about where you are in life, and don't be embarrassed about your list. Don't be embarrassed if you go on a date or if you make a mistake or something like that. Like Amber said, these accountability people, when God brings them, they're not going to laugh in your face. They're not going to tell you you're stupid. They're not going to tell you oh, that's what you get for not listening to me. You know what I'm saying? God is not going to put you in those situations with these types of people. So I would say just be open with that list, like Amber said. Be honest with yourself, and you say, I messed up again, or I want this, or I want that, so that those people around you can minister to you, can speak to where you are, because they're not just sometimes speaking from a human perspective. Out of nowhere, here come the Holy Spirit in the room, and he putting all of your business out there, and you didn't ask for none of that.
You are
like
right.
some of this stuff is like, I just met y'all. Why do y'all know all of my business all of a sudden?
Y'all okay?
No, we're not.
We all right?
We are not okay.
We are not.
But be honest with where you are and tell these people. And also, when I go on a date with somebody, this has happened. This has helped me for the past few years. I ask the Lord, I'm like, when I sit down at the table or wherever I am, Lord, is this you? If it ain't you, tell me. And every time I've been mad about it. Every time I ask, he's like, nope. I'm like, come on. Like, this one look right though. And I like the way you looking right. But yeah, that's all I have.
No, I think it was good what you said about going to God about it and asking the Holy Spirit to let you know. I would say definitely involve God in the process of your list. I would say it's important just not to have what you think you want, what you think you need, because most times we don't even know what we need or what we think we know, and we could be completely wrong. So I always say involve God in it and be realistic. Like, be realistic, because I'm speaking from experience. Be realistic, because something you write on there might not be what is actually what you need in your life. So,
because if you're 4'11", you might not need 6'7" type of person.
Yes.
You can say that louder for the tall girls.
Right. Stop taking all our tall men.
I don't understand why you need all that.
All these 5, 6 girls under.
You a big dog. I want to talk about
All right, cool. As long as we know.
These
That's
are
my short friends
Big
that
dog
we're
said I was
talking
big
about.
dog. That's
same size.
No sense to
I am
me.
taller than you. Anywho, one, your list should be a reflection of God and not a reflection of like this man-made system, not carnality.
That's really good.
Right?
I like that.
And so when you're making this list, as L'Oreal was saying, make sure you involve God, because it is about what God says a husband should be. If you're a gentleman listening to this, it should be what God said a wife should be, not what Instagram said, not what the TV show said, not what that movie said, or what you saw in any rom-com you watched. That is not realistic. Put God right in the middle of it. And one of the things that God had to deal with me about, which is why I had to get rid of most physical attributes, I just need him to be attractive, whatever that looks like, is he asked me the question, if he does not look like that, will you miss out on what I have?
Wow.
And I was like, my goodness.
That's good.
Because I absolutely would have.
Yeah.
I absolutely would have let that. He don't look like, God bless
Give
you.
him a chance.
God bless you. And so you cannot be so caught up in the looks that he has to be 6'3". He got to have this. He got to have that. And and if he doesn't look like that, then he's not the one. Right. And so when it comes to physical attributes, we have to be realistic. Like, that doesn't disqualify them. And then also, don't be unrealistic in what you're creating. If you are not financially sound,
Do not.
and you think that you need a millionaire, something is wrong. I'm just saying, you gotta be realistic. Like, if you just waste money,
You got to.
and you just throwing it away, then you asking for a millionaire is just a little ridiculous. If you are unhealthy and you think that he needs to be a bodybuilder, we might need to just change. You don't have to change your list. You just got to change yourself.
Ooh. You cannot ask for something that you.
That's
do
why I
not
had to
have
pause
yourself.
like that, because that was heavy.
L'Oreal, say that one more time.
Oh, I said you cannot ask for something that you do not have yourself,
Or willing to become.
or willing to become. Like,
I'm telling you.
if you have on a list that you want someone that's healthy, in shape, and you're not in shape yourself,
And
change
you're not
yourself.
even willing to work
Yeah,
together.
you're not willing
It's a
to-
joke.
Yeah.
It's a joke.
Yeah, like, be honest. Be honest with yourself.
Yeah.
What you're putting on here, can you reach that? Or can you bring to the table what you put on that list? If you can't, take it off.
Come on.
Be for real.
Or change it.
When you said like somebody being emotionally drained from dating, that really stuck out to me. I feel like since God is a God of peace, right? And I'm learning this. When peace is not showing up in your dating process and you're feeling this way, perhaps you should take a step back and just really reevaluate how you've been maneuvering a dating process, right? So because I believe when that person comes into your life, things should flow. It should be like, wow, I have peace. I have peace about every step of this. And when you don't have peace, you have a community of wise stewards that's coming together like, nah, this you being you, right? This,
I felt that.
no, because sometimes our trauma shows up and we're not, you know what I'm saying? We don't even know it's showing up. So when you have good people in your life, it can remind you like, nah, you're trying to do better, but the default is going back to your trauma response. And you don't know that, right? And that's why you need people who really see you to pick up on that and not cussing you out how you reacting, but talking to you about it. Yeah. So yeah, I would just say that's my 2 cents. Like if you're emotionally drained, you need to step back and you need to really follow peace.
When I was out in the world doing my thing, I heard the Lord say to me, and he was like, if I'm going to say this, if you want if you want a relationship, make sure you're right where you're supposed to be spiritually, where God told you to be. Because what I heard from the Lord was, if I brought your husband right now, would you even recognize him? Because
say it one more time. Say it one more time.
If I brought your husband right now, would you recognize him? Would you even be able to see him when I bring him past you? Because you say you so ready for this man to come, but are you actually ready? Because you don't even listen to me. So you think that you gonna see I sent you?
Be quiet.
No, real.
You think you gonna see who I sent you when you can't even see what I'm telling you what to do and what not to? So make sure you where you supposed to be, because you could miss out because you thinking you know everything. You think you're ready, but you won't pray for 15 minutes. You won't go to service. You always in offense.
You still going.
You got
it's still going.
with everything. You still in time at work. You don't do your job properly. You can't show up on time nowhere. God done told you several different things, and you're supposed to be here, but you over there. And you're like, why ain't been my husband? Because he over there.
Wow,
make sure where you're supposed to be.
That's exactly what I'm gonna say. That's an alignment. How do you think you gonna? But how do you think your marriage gonna look if you doing all that?
Come on.
You can't listen to God. You gonna listen to a man?
Woo.
If you don't care about God feelings, you think you care about your man feelings?
Man, that's so important.
Good. Oh my gosh.
To be in alignment and be where you
and
are
God
to
is
be.
perfect.
Woo.
How you gonna be with this imperfect human being? God is perfect.
The minute they show they ain't perfect, you ready to fight.
Right.
Or you ready to dip.
Right.
Because you do it to God whenever you
do
don't
it to
move when you want to.
Because we do it to God. Because he don't move when we want him to.
Like, I'm going to see for myself. Y'all better write
and
that
we
down.
think we going to be right in a marriage?
Yo,
it's not happening.
Did y'all hear I'm going to see for myself? Can we cut that out in 2023?
myself.
Period. Cut that out.
Can we take
I have read the manual.
Yes.
I see the warning. I see the stop sign.
Now
I am no longer going in that
I do not need to see for myself.
I do not need to see for myself. I got it.
That's good. That's where we're going to end right there. Stop trying to see for yourself in 2023 and further along.
Yes.
So we're going to end right there. I have some stuff, but I can talk about that another time. I think they really slice and dice us, y'all. I hope y'all are okay. I'm not, but we gonna pray. We praying for us all. We got us all covered.
Yes.
But we love it. And I really hope y'all got something from this particular podcast. And once again, we are here to legit keep each other accountable, keep each other legit succeeding in this season of our lives. And I'm excited for what's to come for y'all and all those good things. I have nothing else to say. I'm just gonna end it. I'll talk to y'all in the next episode. Thank you. Bye. Dang, Sam.
No,
Sam said, "Watch this."
I was like, I got some. Look,
She was like, I got some.
But